Why do women sometimes seem so distant, even when you're doing everything right? Most men never realize the truth, but if you learn this, it will change every interaction you have with her, forever. Men, let me be blunt. You've been sold a lie about attraction. Society, movies, even your friends have convinced you that confidence alone or money alone will get a woman interested. But confidence without understanding is empty. Money without emotional insight is meaningless. And physical attraction? It's fleeting if the emotional connection is missing. Here's the truth. Women are wired to notice subtle psychological signals that you aren't even aware of. And most men fail because they never see them. Let's start with what truly captures her attention. You might think it's about compliments or bold gestures, but it's not. What impresses her is curiosity paired with emotional safety. A man who knows how to ask the right questions and listens without judgment creates a magnetic pull. You don't need to be perfect, rich, or alpha in every sense. You need to show that you see her deeply, that you understand layers of her thoughts and desires she rarely voices. Most men miss this completely. They talk about themselves, they try to impress, they push for validation. This is the exact opposite of what sparks attraction. Here's where most men crash: misunderstanding silence. When she's quiet or seems reserved, many interpret it as rejection. But the real reason? She's testing whether you can hold space for her thoughts without rushing to fix, argue, or chase. Men mistake her testing for disinterest. Women rarely want you to solve a problem right away. They want to feel heard. If you can master listening with intent, you've already set yourself apart from 90% of other men she meets. Now, here's a principle almost never discussed. Women are impressed not just by what you ask, but by how your questions make them feel. A simple question asked with curiosity can make her reveal layers of her personality in a way casual chat never does. The key is phrasing, questions that ignite reflection, but also subtly communicate that you value her mind, not just her looks. These 6 questions I'll reveal aren't tricks or lines. They're subtle psychological keys that trigger connection, trust, and intrigue. The way she answers tells you more than any social media post or weekend hangout ever could. But before I reveal them, understand this. It's not about manipulation. Attraction isn't about control. It's about alignment. The men who struggle, who feel invisible, are usually trying to force a response instead of creating space for genuine interaction. You have to suspend ego, let curiosity lead, and embrace the vulnerability of uncertainty. There's power in the man who doesn't need to be liked immediately, who values the depth of interaction over instant approval. That mindset alone shifts the energy in the room and makes every word you ask weigh 10 times more. By the time you hear the 6 questions, you'll realize this. The difference between a forgettable conversation and one that sparks intrigue is not charisma, not wealth. It's precision and psychological understanding and courage to connect at a level most men never dare. Today, you're stepping into a space most men will never occupy, and that's why this works. There's a reason most men fail to capture a woman's attention. They ask the wrong things, at the wrong time, with the wrong energy. You've been trained to chase, to fill silences with jokes, ego, or meaningless talk. That doesn't create attraction. True magnetism comes from questions that reveal depth, questions that make her feel both understood and intrigued, as if you're the first man who sees the layers she keeps hidden. The first question isn't complicated, but it's lethal in its effect. What's something you've dreamed of doing but haven't told anyone? Watch closely when you ask this. Her eyes will shift, her tone will soften. She's revealing a piece of herself she rarely shares, and you're the first man asking without judgment. Most men would interrupt, give advice, or try to impress. You don't. You listen. This is subtle power. The man who listens well becomes unforgettable because he awakens a sense of safety she rarely feels. The second question: when you look back on the last year, what's something you're proud of that most people wouldn't notice? This flips the conversation from surface-level chat to meaningful introspection. It shows her that you're not just present. You care about what she values in herself. Every woman has achievements, struggles, and small victories that go unseen. When you ask about them, you signal that you notice things others overlook. That attention is magnetic because it feels rare, intimate, and personal. The third question: what do you think most people misunderstand about you? This one digs deeper than any pickup line ever could. It's psychologically sharp because it invites vulnerability without pressure. She might hesitate at first, but that's the point. Hesitation shows the weight of trust she's giving you. Most men would panic, thinking silence is rejection. You don't. You wait, giving her the space to answer honestly. When she does, she's essentially saying, "I feel safe enough with you to show my truth." That is connection in its rawest, most powerful form. Notice the pattern here. None of these questions are about beauty, status, or ego. They're about revealing her mind, creating emotional resonance, and sparking intrigue. This is why men obsessed with looks alone fail. Surface attraction fades, emotional and intellectual resonance lasts, and she will remember the man who creates it. These first three questions set the stage for what comes next, the deeper six-figure impact of attraction that most men will never access. They shift her perception subtly but powerfully, leaving her curious, reflective, and engaged. By the time you finish asking, she will feel something she can't quite put into words. She will feel seen. And when a woman feels seen, she starts valuing the man asking over anyone else in the room. Here's the truth: few men understand. Women don't just want attention. They want attentive, thoughtful attention. They want a man who can hold space for complexity without judgment, who can ask questions that awaken layers she's never shown. The first three questions you now hold are more than conversation starters. They are keys to unlocking trust, intrigue, and emotional magnetism. The power of conversation isn't in what you say, it's in what she feels when you speak. Most men are blind to this. They think attraction is a game of words, but it's really a game of emotional resonance. By now, you've seen how asking the right questions unlocks curiosity and trust. Now, let's take it deeper, where connection becomes unforgettable. The fourth question is deceptively simple. If you could relive one moment in your life, which one would it be and why? Listen carefully to her answer. It's not the story that matters. It's the emotion behind it. Every woman carries memories that define her, shape her fears, and fuel her desires. When you ask her to share one, you're inviting her to reveal a layer of her soul. You're showing that you value her experiences, not just her appearance. Most men would gloss over this, but you, by simply asking and listening, become rare. You become the man who notices what everyone else ignores. The fifth question: what's something you've wanted to try but have been too scared to? This triggers intrigue and adventure. Women are drawn to men who can hold space for vulnerability, but also who spark excitement. When she shares what she's hesitant to try, she's revealing a mix of fear and desire, a combination that creates emotional intensity. You don't need to solve her fears. You simply acknowledge them, validate them, and let curiosity guide the conversation. That alone makes you memorable in ways words can't describe. Finally, the sixth question: what's the one thing you wish more people would understand about love? This is the pinnacle question. It taps into her deepest emotional truths. She will pause, reflect, maybe even feel exposed, and that's precisely the effect you want. By asking this, you're positioning yourself as someone who cares about her perception of connection, not just casual conversation. It shows depth, insight, and a rare ability to hold emotional weight. In short, it makes you different. It makes you unforgettable. Here's what most men don't realize. It's not just the questions themselves, it's how you carry them. The tone, timing, and patience you bring to each one amplifies their effect. You cannot rush. You cannot force. You cannot let ego interfere. Women sense desperation instantly, but a man who asks with curiosity, listens with intent, and values truth over validation becomes magnetic. By now, the pattern is clear. These 6 questions aren't tricks. They're not lines. They are keys to unlocking emotional depth, trust, and intrigue, qualities that create lasting attraction. When you ask these questions, she feels safe, noticed, and stimulated all at once. That combination is intoxicating, and few men ever learn how to achieve it. Remember, men, this isn't about manipulation. It's about awareness, precision, and courage. The man who understands these 6 questions doesn't compete with others. He transcends them. He becomes someone she thinks about long after the conversation ends. That's how true attraction works. And now you hold the knowledge most men will never access. Now, let's take a step back and see the full picture. Attraction isn't magic. It isn't about flashy gestures, endless texts, or chasing validation. It's about precision in emotional and psychological connection. Those 6 questions aren't just conversation starters. They're tools to enter her mind, to spark curiosity, and to awaken feelings that most men can't reach. But knowing the questions alone isn't enough. Timing, energy, and presence are everything. You've got to read her subtle cues, her pauses, her shifts in tone, the way her eyes move when she's thinking. These signals tell you whether she's opening up because she's comfortable or holding back because she's cautious. Most men misinterpret hesitation as disinterest. Not you. You know that patience is power. You wait. You let the silence do the work. You allow her to reveal herself at her own pace. And that restraint creates a magnetic tension she will remember. Energy matters too. You can't ask these questions mechanically. You can't rush or fake curiosity. Women are wired to detect authenticity at a level that feels almost instinctual. When you ask with genuine interest, when your attention is fully present, something shifts. Suddenly, you're not just a man she's talking to. You become a rare presence in her life. A man who sees her fully, without judgment, without ego, without agenda. That presence is irresistible because it's scarce. Here's the harsh truth most men never face. Attraction is not built in hours, days, or weeks. It's built in moments of depth. Every word, every question, every pause carries weight. And the 6 questions are designed to compress months of shallow conversation into a single interaction that feels profound. They create a sense of intimacy that's rare, a sense of being truly understood. That's what impresses her instantly. Not what you wear, drive, or show online. But there's one final layer most men ignore: your own mindset. You cannot give her depth if you don't hold it yourself. Confidence here isn't bravado. It's rooted in calm curiosity, in emotional resilience, in the courage to embrace uncertainty. When you master your inner state, these questions work like magic because they are amplified by your presence. You're no longer just asking questions. You're guiding her into an experience she will never forget. And now, here's what I want you to do. Think about this equation in your own life. If you asked someone 6 questions that made them feel truly seen, how would your relationships change? Comment your answer below. Think deeply about it. This isn't a casual question. And if this video opened your eyes, like, subscribe, and share it with a friend who needs to hear this. Most men will never learn these truths, but you have the chance to step ahead. Remember, what separates men who fade into the background from men who leave a lasting impression isn't luck. It's psychological precision, emotional awareness, and courage to connect deeply. Use it wisely. The results are yours to claim.